What's good, punk rockers? Blow941 here. In today's video, we're going to be talking about another movie that I saw, the 2025 James Gunn Superman. And holy, oh boy, god damn it, this is a good one. Just get into it. I cannot remain unbiased here, so let's just set the stage ahead of time. I've been into DC Comics for years. I am more of a Batman fan than Superman, but it's not because I find the Man of Steel to be boring or unengaging like you hear a lot of people talk about, but because I find the Bat family to be so very cool. Tim Drake best Robin, and it isn't even fucking close. But my first comic book anything was a Superman omnibus. Greatest hits throughout the character's history, starting way back with how Superman would have ended the war, and finishing with what's so funny about truth, justice, and the American way. I read the absolute shit out of that thing. It's one of the most important and formative pieces of media that I own. There's a fantastic video from Cosmonaut Variety Hour that talks about Superman and the DC heroes and why they're important, so if you want a better explanation of what I'm about to say next, I highly recommend you check them out. He made like 2 of them, I think. But Superman's most important trait is his humanity. He's the most human superhero, despite being the only one of DC's big 3 that didn't come from Earth, and is quite literally not a biological human. People always say that they find Superman to be boring and lame and bland, white-bread Boy Scout who follows the rules and there's nothing interesting about him, and I think that's a horrible misconception about the character, and that opinion is how we ended up with the Snyderverse. Zack Snyder does not understand the comic books that he's adapting, and that's fine. Like, this is nothing new that I'm putting forth here, but just bear with me a little further. I have a point, I promise. For the longest time, I didn't think I'd ever see something from DC that isn't animated, that just, like, gets Superman as a character. The animated New 52 movies were overall pretty good. They understood him to as much of an extent as you could within a non-Superman focused narrative, but I didn't expect to see another mainstream theatrical release that attempts to just do Superman, that just like fucking gets it, right? And I resign myself to having to be that comic book nerd that defends a character that's almost a century old whenever DC's reputation gets compared to Marvel's multimedia empire. So when I tell you that when I saw the first trailer with the John Williams score from John Murphy and David Fleming going fucko mode in the background, with Clark talking to his father on the porch, yeah, my bitch ass fell for the marketing. I'm not ashamed to be emotionally moved by media, so I will be the first to tell you that I started tearing up. It meant that much to me. This is... like, this is a corporate product meant to sell shit to me, but sometimes there's artistry in that, and I think, like, the initial vibe from that first trailer was beautiful. You could absolutely tell that this movie understood what it was doing. This was going to be a movie about a character that is unceasingly good and stands for hope. And god damn it, did the movie reach my expectations. I've said it a bunch to people that know me in person or through like Discord or something, but James Gunn understands comic book characters in a way that I have not seen another director that has had the opportunity to make a comic book character movie in a way that none of the others can or have indicated. He knows how to change things in ways that fit and where to let weird shit stand on its own. Like, nobody fucking knew who Groot was until the first Guardians movie came out. That man made Rocket Raccoon a household name and completely destroyed my emotional state with Guardians 3 and where he was the main character. Like, that's crazy. And he fucking did it again with 2025 Superman. Ain't nobody but losers like me knew who Mr. Terrific or Guy Gardner were. But now I get to autism gush about the T-Spheres and the Team Ask and why Earth has so many Green Lanterns to my mother when she asks me who the hell Nathan Fillion's playing in that new Superman movie. I'm just going to get into spoilers now because I'm really bad at structuring these, but I just wanted to talk about Superman and this is the best way to do it. So, David Corenswet has fucking nailed Superman full stop. This is a dork-ass loser who believes in humanity so much more than it deserves. Like, no shade to Henry Cavill, but this is what a perfect casting looks like. Cavill was great for the kind of Superman that Snyder was trying to make, and I think that the character itself was inherently flawed. And what's really fascinating is when you listen and watch all the shit that Gunn, like all the interviews that Gunn's put out, or maybe it was one interview, but you keep getting clips of him talking about Henry Cavill and The Rock and all that, and like what went into him not being Superman anymore. And he's a talented actor, but he is not a good Superman if you're trying to be faithful to the character. He's too stoic, he's too inhumanly chiseled, if that makes sense. Like, in 2025 Superman, there's a bit where Superman's monologuing to Lex about how humanity is flawed and how they make mistakes and whatnot, and I don't think Cavill is he's not a very flawed person if that makes sense. Like, he's obviously a human being and he's obviously flawed, but when he plays a character, he's not really playing, like, that specific iteration of Superman wasn't really, like, flawed. He's obviously fucked up and actually was flawed, but, like, the goal wasn't flaws, if that makes sense. It wasn't the humanity of it, it was the inhumanity of it. It was more Dr. Manhattan as opposed to Clark Kent, if that makes sense. The relationship dynamic between him and Lois was fucking great, and I'm very happy that we started the movie basically in the middle of a bunch of things going on at once, both overall narrative and interpersonal relationship-wise. I know some people are a little put off by the lack of introduction to certain things and concepts, but fuck that. We all know Lois Lane and Clark Kent work at the Daily Planet. We all know they've got a relationship. We all know that they're superheroes and that Metropolis gets attacked often. Like, we do not need to do another origin story. A side note, it was really funny seeing the bridge I take on my run home from my mom's house get fucking destroyed. As some of you know, I am from Cleveland, and there was a split second where I turned to Kyle and pointed at the terminal tower like Leonardo DiCaprio pointing at the TV. Get owned, all other cities. I could get into politics, but I feel like if I did that I'd say some dumb shit like, wow, it was really funny that Hawkgirl killed I can't say that shit on YouTube. What the fuck am I doing, man? Nicholas Holt's Lex Luthor was fucking legendary. Generational talent playing a man consumed by jealousy and ego. The very definition of cutting off one's nose to spite their face. I grew up watching Smallville, so Michael Rosenbaum is like my Lex Luthor, and it was really funny, like, finding out that he was like in this movie. He's like the Raptor guard talking about sexy selfies behind Lex Luthor's back. Like, that was really funny hearing that. But Nicholas Holt's Lex Luthor is fucking phenomenal. So horribly petty. Rushing Roulette ending so fast was such a brilliant scene. Brutal, fast, and an incredibly clever subversion of expectations to show how far gone Lex is as a character, which makes Superman still believing in redemption that much more powerful. So very well done. And speaking of powerful emotions, Clark's parents sound exactly how my grandparents do, which is no surprise given that they live in Kansas. But when Clark was healing at home after the kryptonite poisoning in the pocket dimension, I genuinely started tearing up. Like, not from concern for the character, but because I miss my grandparents, man. I left the theater and went to call them, but remembered it was 10 p.m., so I sent my grandmother a long text message. I've never cried in a movie theater before, and Superman is the movie that made me do it. If that isn't an endorsement, I don't know what is, man. Go see Superman to feel something. It's relentlessly positive, and everyone's like, yeah, I went to see Superman, and I just have been in a good mood ever since, and it's definitely made my mood. It's been stressful this past few weeks, and Superman was definitely something that I absolutely needed. It came at the right time. Things are bleak right now, man. Things are not the greatest. Like, they're not awful, they're not horrible. I'm not about to fucking die or lose my job or anything like that. But it's been a stressful chunk of time, and this is the movie that we needed. This is the perfect time for it. I'm so happy that I got to go see this with Kyle. Like, this is important. And you know, this is the movie that DC absolutely needed right now. Like, we can, you know, shifting away from emotion, let's talk strategy. They'd been like shitting the bed. Even if some of the movies that were good, they weren't like being received very well. There were a lot of problems with it. The entire shit that happened with The Rock turning Black Adam, like trying to make Black Adam a household name, but not understanding the character enough and just relying on the fact that it's Black Adam. Like, The Rock doing the Black Adam thing was just, all I could see was him seeing Ryan Reynolds finding success with Deadpool and going, oh, I can do that, totally, and trying to find an obscure character that looks like him. Like, I get having an emotional attachment to a lesser-known comic book character, and let's just pretend that The Rock actually fucking reads comic books and isn't just a businessman trying to, you know, hit the bottom line. So, like, I get, like, being emotionally invested in that and wanting to portray that character well, but, brother, you tried to remove Shazam from the Black Adam story. What are you doing? You fundamentally do not understand the character. Yeah, he's an important player in the DC canon over time, but Shazam is a core part of that narrative. I'm so glad that he's no longer involved. I'm very much in James Gunn do I trust. He understands comic book characters, has a plan for everything, and Millie Alcock, please punch me in the throat. I don't know what else to say, really. Both the movies I've seen this year have moved me to wanting to make videos about them, and that's what you get for having good taste, I guess. I don't know, have you seen Superman yet? I'd love to hear what you're thinking in those comments down below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Listen to more punk rock, even pop garbage. Y'all have a wonderful day.